We're going to talk about building your one-liner. A couple of you guys submitted what you thought were one-liners. Now, as a background, I come from Donald Miller's School of Story Building. I believe that we all live inside a world of stories. We just don't recognize them until somebody breaks them down. And when we talk about stories, we often talk about opening a loop and closing a loop. And your one-liner begins by really opening that loop. It's that one-liner is a single statement you can use to help people realize why they need you. Not who you are, not that your grandmother started the company and you're the fourth generation cookie baker in your family. And yeah, so what? I have an 11-year-old daughter and she does this to me all the time. She'll come in and tell me a story and I'll just stare at her. I'm like, and why are you telling me this story? Like, I don't understand why this is presented to me. So many times I'll be sitting in Clubhouse is a great example where somebody's like, hi, I'm an instrument. I'm like, and what has that got to do with me? It's everything about you. And we all know that this world functions around what does it got to do with me? So it's clearly outlines a problem your customer, that problem you help your customer solve in a simple, repeatable, relatable way or relevant way. We all walk through the planet looking for problems to be solved. We're thirsty, we go to the refrigerator. We're hungry, we go to the candy drawer. We go to the fruit bowl on our kitchen table. We go to a bookstore because we want to buy a book to help us solve the problem about our confidence, our success, our mindset, our beliefs. We go to church for the same idea, to fill the gap. We walk through life looking for problems to be solved and people to do it for us with the least resistance and a way that we can identify to and then move into success. And so there's basically three elements of it. And it's the problem, the product, and the result, or the praise, or the success. And so we're going to go through these really quick, because I know, like I said, it's been a long morning, but we're going to break them down at the end as well. So the first part, I think my PowerPoint just froze. Oh God, no. Oh, I know what I did. Give me just a sec. There we go, the problem. So the problem is stating the problem adds value to what you do. If you can identify the problem and I can relate to the problem, you suddenly become the only person on the planet that I want to talk to because you're the refrigerator, you're the candy dish, you're the preacher at the front of the stage. But I'm now like, oh my God, this is my problem. Solution person. It's stating the problem in which we remember when we state the problem, and we've all done this, when somebody will be at a coffee or we'll be at a dinner party and somebody say, oh my God, I got to get the house painted. They just stated a problem. What's our first reaction? You need to call Bob. Oh man, I got my kid's birthday party coming up and I don't know what we're going to solve. You got to call my caterer. People state problems and what is our natural reaction? We give them a person that can solve it. So when we write our one-liner, starting with the problem, then people remember, oh wait, you're struggling with sales? That's a Raylan solution. Oh, you're struggling with building. Oh, that's a this person's solution. And also stating the problem clearly connects your brand to the solution. So what do problems look like? Many businesses are burning cash. So many people find it nearly impossible. Most industrial companies have their employees, but not doing enough to keep them safe. When we talk about the problem up front, we need to make it connected to what they might be experiencing. Now, in the do's and don'ts section, don't try and include every problem that you solve under the sun. When I worked with politicians and we were developing campaigns and strategies, we always used to say, remember, we got to get them in the tent before we can convert them. That thing that you do on the outside, especially if you're a coach, you know that their problem might be consistency, it might be structure, it might be something, but they don't know that. What they know is the problem that they identify with. And so in order for you to get them to buy the product, move into your tent, accept you as a candidate for choice, you need to bring the problem you need to hear their problem. So for example, when we're working in a campaign and somebody will say like, what are you going to do about schools? We'll say something like, you know, as soon as we get those roads repaired, we'll have more people moving into the area, which will increase our tax base, which will improve the schools. What are you going to do about industry? You know, as soon as we get better roads in the area, we're going to have more people coming into the area, which is going to create more employment, which is going to attract more businesses. It's like back to the roads, back to the roads. We've all just experienced a cycle of back to the wall, back to the wall. You have to make sure that the client, the customer, the person you're attracting identifies with the problem you're stating, not what you think the problem they're having is, but actually what the problem is that you're stating. And that problem, when you state it clearly, sorry about that. The problem that when you state it clearly is really the hook. It's the thing that makes me lean in and like, oh my God, you know me, or you understand me, or you get me. And that's opening the loop when we talk about stories. So that's opening up the loop. And what happens when you have an open story loop is people's minds begin to figure out how to close it. It's similar to if you play the first three notes of a song we all know, like da, 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 and then you stop, everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's the rest of the day you try and finish the song where it stays in your head because you're trying to close that loop. Because I open that loop with my one-liner, you're like, yeah, that's my problem. And you wait for somebody to tell you how to fix it. That's where the product comes in. So the product is really the problem that you solve. It's the solution that you do. It's the secret sauce without the whole bottle being dumped on it. I have a note there, keep it simple, Sally. You only need to address one solution. Don't tell me your 32-point system for increasing sales in companies through your simple algorithm. Like, oh, I don't want to know how you got to Vegas. I just want to know that you can get me to Vegas. And so if the problem is that most companies blank, the solution is I provide blank, and then we're going to go to the resolution so that they. And so when I talk about products, we have I help business clarify their marketing message. That's why we created a model of. So we provide the expertise and program. I'm not going into the details of the system. I'm going into just enough to let you know that we've thought it out. An amazing example is P90X. Now, like, nobody explained to me that P90X meant that it was 90 minutes of exercise, like 90 exercise. They only told me that if you're fat and flabby and you want to be thin and sexy, buy this product. They didn't tell me I was going to have to do like crunches until my abs bleed out my belly button. They just said, here's the product that's going to bring you this result if you have this problem. Same thing for you. If you're selling the P90X thing, you don't have to explain every minute of the workout for the 9-week program within your one-liner. You just simply need to let me know that you have this product that is directly connected, and that's the do's and the don'ts, that's directly connected to the problem and the loop that you opened. Because when you directly connect it to the problem, my brain goes, oh, good, I can close that loop. I have the problem, I have a solution provider, I can pack that away in my little tiny brain so that when I'm ready to address it, I know how to deal with it. So again, problem has to be connected to the product. You have to keep it simple. Don't be cute and clever, because cute and clever often comes from like, oh yeah, this is a saying my mother used to know. Or we try and be cute and clever because we think it adds magic. I don't want that. I want 1 + 1 will equal 2 in my world. Oh, great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Brain simple. Because honestly, our brains consume calories. And the fewer calories that it needs to consume to figure out your problem and solution, the happier it is, because it can continue to survive. But if it starts burning calories, then it makes a decision between survival and purchase. And you and I want them to purchase, not serve. So keep it simple. The third thing is the result, the reward, the solution. And so when I talk about the result, connect the product to the problem to the results. Results need to be tangible. I so often hear people say, I help build confidence. I help empower. I help blank. I'm like, that's a feeling, and feelings are very transient, and feelings are very subjective, and feelings are very perspective. What does that feeling allow me to do? What does that feeling take me to? What does that feeling create externally in my world that I can then show my wife, my spouse, that the money that I'm investing in this is creating this, and therefore we need to keep investing in it, doing it, being a part of it. If you're somebody that helps me feel more confident on camera, what does that confidence relate to beyond the word confidence? Because your idea of confidence and my idea of confidence have to go back all the way to my history. And you have to decide if I'm confident enough, if I've reached a level of competent confidence, versus saying so that you can appear on camera and deliver your message clearly and convert more people from watchers to buyers. Now I can go back and I can look at that tangible thing and say, you know what? Instead of getting 37 likes, I got 37 likes, 3 calls, and 2 conversions. I feel good about my business, i.e., I feel confident about going on camera because I can see the direct result that it brings. And so often, like I said, the feeling result has to have something, be connected to more than the feeling. So, and then if, so clients that work with us often reduce their marketing spending because we believe you deserve timely access to quality. Companies that work with us provide their employees with a safe workplace that they deserve. So you can hear feeling words between like feel safe, deserve, reduce their marketing and spending, increase sales and lead, very tangible things. And so do not make the success about your company. Do not make the one-liner that says, we can help you, we can do this, we have experience. Do speak what their life is going to look like doing business with you. In story building and writing, we call it the aspirational avatar. So when I work in nonfiction with coaches and thought leaders, I often say, what is the promise you're making up front that by completing the read of this course, the read of this book, spending time with you, engaging in your thought, they will arrive at this, quote, aspirational avatar, the thing that they want to achieve. When we go into a bookstore and we say you lose weight in 30 days without exercising, the aspirational avatar is a relaxed, comfortable, skinny person. How do we do that is through the book process. And so when you create that aspirational avatar, the thing that people talk about wanting to be and the problem that they're having in getting there, and you're the solution in the middle, they're like, okay, so if I want to arrive at this point, because I identify with this problem, the middle piece, you is the simple solution. So again, in summary, the problem, what is the main pain you solve for your customers? This is often where, when I'm doing branding and story development and really digging deep, we can spend a lot of time, like a lot of time, because we perceive it's at one level, but when we really dig down, it's really here. And then we do polling, we do surveying, we talk to their current customers, clients, and say, you know, if we said this, is that kind of like where you entered our funnel? Is that kind of where you started to engage with me? Because we want to make sure that we're speaking the language that they're speaking, not the language we want them to speak when they come out at the other end. And then the product, what product or service you offer that solves the problem, and then the results. What positive results will they get from being with you? And so here's sort of the one. So most coaches struggle to monetize what they know. So I created a communication framework that helps them clarify their message so that they can stand out as the expert they are and watch their business grow. What is the problem I heard over and over? Coaches would say they don't have enough leads. They don't have enough clients. They don't have enough. Well, if you had it, what would change in your life? Money. So the real problem is you ain't got enough money coming in for what you do. Yeah, like truth is my business isn't at the level that I want it to be. Well, if you had a framework to communicate more effectively or more clearly what it is you know, would people be willing to pay you more money? Oh, definitely. Okay, so I have that solution. And if you follow my framework, your business will grow, which will ultimately create the money that you want, reinforce the communication framework, because then people will recognize you as the expert, and on goes the cycle. I had a call the other day with, I love Raylan, he always calls them lead calls. I always call them lead conversion calls because they're a lead and my intention is to convert them. The energy that I show up in is the energy that we exit with. And after I gave them the pitch and I gave them the price, they were like, oh, is that all? And it was like, what? Yeah, I wanted to laugh. They were like, I really expected it to be more because of what you do. I really thought I would have to pay more for it. And I felt like going, dang, could have just upped it, but integrity. Because they knew what I identified what their problem was. I showed them what the framework for success would be, and I showed them what it would look like after, and they identified with the aspirational avatar. They were in before I was finished selling. And so when you're sitting down to do it, make sure it's not only makes sense, but sounds good. So often as a copywriter, I'll write stuff and I'm like, ooh, that's good. And then I'll read it out loud and I'll be like, that doesn't sound as good on coming out of my mouth as it did on paper. And I'll even sometimes go to the extent of recording it and hearing it back. And I'm like, that doesn't make as much sense as I thought it did. Or I'll post it on a wall or I'll print it out and I'll just walk past it, like hang it on the refrigerator in the bathroom mirror. And I'm like, I don't understand. Which gives you number two, don't be afraid to change things up. Nothing has to last forever. Where I began in my business and what I do now has changed and transformed because I've gained clarity and I've gained awareness of what my clients need. And in order to keep that funnel tight and be able to convert quickly, I have to make sure I change it. Make sure it's easily repeatable. One of the frustrations I see with clients is they first listen to the problem and then they try and like piece this thing together that fits so that they can close the deal. And then they're exhausted because they've got like 10 different programs, 10 different strategies. And it's like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm on the call with Mike and that means we're doing it. But then I go to Michelle. It's like, no, if I can make it clear, simple, and repeatable, and that people understand it easily, then my message is going to go further faster. And I'm not going to have to create new products because everybody knows I'm the one guy that does this. And I often relate it to the idea of when you climb mountains and you hire a guide, the guy that takes you from the car to base camp is not the guy that's going to take you from camp 3 to the summit. They each have different areas and different expertise and different knowledge and experience. And I want to make sure that at each point on the journey, I'm getting the right guide for that. And so I'm not afraid of saying, I can only take you this far. And I know the guide that's at level 2 or base camp 2 and 3 and 4 and where you need to go and beyond. And then the final note is watch when people say, what do you mean versus how do you do that? And we want, how do you do that? So if somebody says, what do you mean? They didn't understand the message. But if they say, well, how do you do that? They've already said yes in their head. They've already bought your product. They just want to understand the process that they're paying for. And so if somebody says, well, how do you do that? You're like, that's a great question. If you enroll in my program, I'll be happy to show you, but briefly, and then you go into the next level. And so when you start implementing your one-liner, you'll increase your sales and your referrals. Why? Because customers can clearly see and tell others how you make their lives better. I've had coaches that I can clearly say, they took me from 5K to 10K a month, or they took me from this position to this position, and my life is better because not because of their program, but because of who they were or who they are. So problems plus products plus results equals payments. And so we had a couple, let me just open this piece up again. So here's the three that had submitted early, Joe. I empower young professionals to own their morning lifestyle to perform at their best and avoid burnout. I don't know, like, I see two results, but no product.
Yeah.
And no problem. I am assuming that there's two problems. One could be a burnout and one could be low performance, but I don't necessarily know if that's who you want to attract as a client. And so I empower young professionals. Young professionals is a really vague term because at my age, young professionals is anybody under 50.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then to own their morning lifestyle. So my morning lifestyle is to lay in bed and watch TV.
Yeah. So you're already providing so much clarity. So basically what I do is I help people wake up early so they don't stress out. Like that's as simple as it is. And
but what is the problem?
They're stressed. And I didn't
About
see
what?
that. I mean, I would say they all need to talk to our boy this morning, but stress is probably the trigger word for the problem. Like they feel stressed at
Stress is
work.
the symptom. What's the cause?
Man, the cause. The cause would be they don't carve time for themselves, so they're always behind.
That's the problem. Well, that's not really the problem. That's the solution, because you're going to teach them how to carve time to reduce stress.
Yes. Yeah.
And I get it. You're on the hot seat, and this is honestly why sometimes it can take 30 or 40 minutes to get to it. But because it's unclear, I don't know if you can help me. Yeah. And so what ends up happening is we spend 45 minutes on a lead conversion call. Mm-hmm. And then I walk away saying, can I think about it? Because my confused mind is still trying to figure out if you're the guy that has ice cream. My kids at 2 years old knew when they heard a certain song, that was ice cream in the street. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't hear that music. I empower young professionals to own their morning lifestyle, to perform at their best and avoid burnout, so that they can have more time with family, so that they can maximize their freedom to go to and then the next one, I'm a comedian who uses improv to help people be more charismatic communicators, which gets them more speaking gigs, which gets them more girls in the hotel room, which leads them to more charismatic communicators. My son is very charismatic when he wants to communicate that he needs money for something. What is it? And then the I would drop. So you use comedy or you use improv, but why are people, so if you often feel like you're the dead weight on stage, so that's kind of the problem that I identify, that when I step on stage, everybody goes to sleep. I use improv to help you become more charismatic so you get called back to more big speaking gigs or something to that effect. The thing is, I don't find me as a funny person. I don't want to be a funny person. But the way I'm reading this is, if I'm not a funny person, I'm not your client. Or if I don't think that what I have to deliver is funny, when in reality, what you're teaching me is how to be able to read a room and respond in a way that you connect to the audience, to create connections or to become more charismatic. And then helping coaches monetize their passion so that they can build the business they dream of by giving them proven strategies to consistently land clients. It's almost a little upside down and in between, because helping coaches, so it's focused on you versus focused on me. Coaches struggling to grow their business, coaches coaching outside their passion, their purpose, their joy. Coaches who feel like they're not allowed to do what they love most so that they can, so coaches that don't feel passionate about what they do, I have a proven strategy to help you move back into passion and create a business with profit, or something to that effect. Again, when I use a one-liner, and this often happens when somebody says, "What is it you do?" And people will say, "Well, I'm a caterer with 13 years of experience that specializes in whole foods." Your mother should be proud is the response. Versus, are you a family that really wants to get healthy but struggle getting to the grocery store? Or I help families that are struggling to get healthy and still have time to sit at the table together. Well, what I do is I create healthy families through my catering business. Wow, what does that look like? How do you do that? Like, you've already moved me into the buying process because I'm trying to qualify and clarify. And so when I'm in a room of people and they're like, "Well, what is it you do?" Well, help thought leaders and coaches take their great ideas and get them into a book or another format so that more people can know about them and they can grow their business and make a bigger impact. Oh, I know somebody that needs you because they're a great thought leader and they don't have a book yet, or they don't have a keynote, or they don't have a product. And so problem, product, result. Don't think of product as necessarily the pen on the table, the coffee mug, but the thing that you do. All great websites should have their one-liner. If it's not in the hero section of your website, it better be within the first fold, or I'm going somewhere else. Because there's my solution, there's my problem, there's my solution. This is the guy that's going to do it for me. Now let me hear how he's going to do it. And when I wireframe websites, yes, another thing I do, Raylan, but when I wireframe websites, or when you're writing emails and doing copy, you're constantly pulling from this because you just keep agitating the problem and amplifying the results. And so you may lack confidence, but what is the problem that's creating in your life? Not getting enough sales, not getting enough speaking gigs, not being recognized in the boardroom for what you know. Like, what is that? What is the problem that's creating? And that's where I'll often bullet point when I design it out, like 5 or 6 most common. But in the short answer, the one-liner, I try and find the one that's the highest. And so that, you guys should have a worksheet. And if you didn't get the worksheet, I know the link is below. It really walks you through creating your one-liner and asking you some questions and then some ideas of where to put it. And there we go. Da, 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 da.
So here's what we'll do now. And speakers, I know Greg, you just joined, and BJ, you were here obviously earlier, so you know we're about 10 minutes behind. So what we're gonna do right now is for 10 minutes, I'm gonna put on some lo-fi hip hop. For those that have been to the event before, you guys know what we're gonna do now. Go through the tool and do it on your own. Here's the caveat: do not ask Eric any questions during this time. Don't ask anybody any questions. Try your best. Okay. We're going to come back in 10 minutes. So at 9:50. And for the last 10 minutes or so, we're going to read them out loud. We're going to mastermind them out and go from there. We're not going to be able to get to everybody. Again, it's my fault. As you guys know, I'm still working on the whole time management thing. So I'll improve on that, I promise. But yeah, we're not going to get to everybody, but I want this done by the time you leave here, or at least your first draft. All right. Including myself, because guys, by the way, this is something we all need. So with that being said, again, the clock starts now. 10 minutes. We'll reconvene here. Leave your videos on if you want. Turn them off. I don't care. But 10 minutes. focus on doing this, no questions, and let's get into it. So who wants to get started? Or do you want to see Eric, Taryn, and me first, and then everyone else can go? Karina, go ahead.
Hey, Eric, how are you? So I'm very excited about doing this. And here is what I have. Helping creative entrepreneurs stop feeling stuck with their personal brand so you can convert their leads into clients. That's what I have.
So, sorry,
Do you want me to repeat
I
it?
think, so can you start, you had like 3 words, you had helping.
Yes, I'm going to repeat it. Helping creative entrepreneurs stop feeling stuck with their personal. Okay.
So the stop feeling stuck is really the starting point.
Exactly.
Not who, but what. The problem is feeling stuck with
their personal brand to convert leads into clients.
So if you're feeling stuck, that if we're identifying that as the problem, I feel stuck with developing my personal brand, my signature system will help you convert leads into clients so that you can profit.
Yes, exactly.
So you're kind of missing the solution. I don't hear what you do.
Okay. This is what I had before, so I can give it to you again. Okay. So helping creative entrepreneurs stop feeling stuck with their personal brand to build, I know this is redundant, to build up their brand with purpose and strategy. This is what I had before.
Yeah, and so the problem that I feel is I'm stuck. Like I call myself this, but I don't even know what that is, but that seems to be the word everybody says on Instagram or social media. So that's what I'm going to call myself. Like that doesn't feel like me. That just feels like everybody. So if you're feeling stuck identifying your unique personal brand, now suddenly like, that's what I've been looking for is my uniqueness.
Okay.
My coaching, my book, my 3-point system unlocks it. And I'm just like off the top. So you can stand out, get paid more, and love the job you're doing.
Okay. Okay.
Because the problem that I think you're trying to identify is people that don't know their brand.
Exactly.
And as soon as they know their brand, they can live their passion and purpose of that brand.
Yes.
And what you do is help me refine, reflect, develop a unique personal position.
Yes, that's it.
So problem, solution, aspirational avatar. Because we all want to coach clients that we love spending time with and have our bank account fill up fast.
Yeah,
now we can't say that sometimes. But we've all had that client that's like, why are you on my calendar? Oh, that's right, because I'm flat ass broke and I took you just because I had to.
Okay.
Sorry. It's the truth.
No, it's true. It's true. I like it because you're very real. So I like it.
I'm trying to get to the end of a book right now that I'm just like, oh God, when it goes to publication, I'm going to be so happy. And halfway through, she said, I should do a second book.
I like it. I like it.
All right.
Wow.
Sorry.
Thank you. It's enlightening. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give space to someone else. So.
Yeah. Joe, did you have your hand up too?
I mean, technically, I feel like I already went a little bit, so I want to give some space. I didn't realize I unclicked myself from mute, so I apologize. But I would love to get this going.
Okay, so let's do Anthony, and then one more person, and then Chris, because Chris kind of already went to in a lot of ways. Nicole. So we'll go Anthony, Nicole, Chris, and then if you guys can do me a favor, just type it out, and then share your screen when it's your turn, so that way Eric can also see it.
Go ahead, whoever. Sorry.
That's Anthony.
Yeah, right. So I'm going to stick to what I wrote because I think we will get to it, but helping health coaches monetize their passion so that they can build the business they dream of by giving them proven strategies to consistently let clients. So what I'm thinking about is that's basically every other marketer's pitch, their one-liner, and I don't know how to make it stand out. So, but that's the problem, that everyone wants to monetize their passion to make money. That's the biggest problem of coaches. So I can't really go outside of it. So that's where I'm stuck.
Yeah. So one of the things I see is, though, again, I don't see, I kind of see so they can monetize their passion. That's all, like, so if we convert it to the problem is I can't monetize my passion. Like, I make these doilies all day long, but I don't know how to sell them. Or I love knitting hats, but I don't know how to sell them. And so that monetizing your passion is kind of there as the problem. You're repeating the problem so they can build their business of their dream. Well, why would you build a business that's a nightmare? So you really don't need to state that, because nobody would go. So that's like a bit of a redundancy. By giving them proven strategies to consistently land clients. And then I always, to help me find the third part, I'll sometimes say, so that they can work less and play more, so that they can build the empire, like create that vision of what it's going to look like, that I'm going to be, people are going to be like, how did you end up here? And they're going to say, because Anthony. What is the end up here piece?
I thought that was it, build the business they dream of.
Do we all want to go to work 24/7, 365? Like, I don't want to build a business just to build a business. I want to build a business because I don't want to go back to working at Walmart as a greeter, or like, so it's kind of the aspirational, but it's not like, is that really why you're in business, is to build the business of your dream? Like, is that why you show up to work every day?
To do something that fulfills them, maybe.
But why do you show up every day? To build a business?
No, not really.
To pay your mortgage? To invest in your future?
For status, for status,
Could
for
be.
power, for money.
Can be any of those. At one point I had written my internal one was so that I can have an online business, so I can live and work anywhere at any time, which allowed us to move to Uruguay for 3 years and not have an interruption in my business. If you help health coaches monetize their passion, why do health coaches not work in gyms? Or is your, and this is part of this, and I say this only because, Anthony, I see your struggle. When we do this, we often have to also define who the aspirational, who the avatar or the client is. So are you working with health coaches? You working with gym rats? You working, like, who do you want to work with? And why have they chosen this field?
So I'm working with especially men's health coaches that are more doing transformations with struggling people in their 20s and 30s. So that's my avatar. But you're right, I don't know why, the deep reason why. So I will probably do some market research and really dig deep into it.
Yeah, so if I would ask one of your men's health coaches who primarily work with men in their 20s and 30s trying to get the body back that they had when they were in high school or at the peak of their time.
It's more of a holistic approach. It's more of spiritual work, or more of, it really depends. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So
It's
if
not
I'm
fitness
transforming
professionals per se.
somebody, if I'm trying to transform somebody, if I work with men in their 20s and 30s who are trying to create transformation in their life so they can live in harmony and not have so many arguments at the dinner table. Like, what is missing from your life that if you and I could develop a magic pill, swallow it, that would suddenly show up that you would say that's worth $10,000 a month to pay for?
Right. So
Remember, the aspirational avatar has to be just outside the realm of current, but not so unrealistic that nobody believes they can get to it, because there's this congruency in our brain that when our brain sees incongruency or it's out of integrity, it tries to resolve it and say, yeah, we can achieve that if we do what Anthony says. Or it says it's so out of congruent, or we just can never reach integrity with that we give up and go back to the old habits. So when we create the aspirational avatar, we need it just outside the current state, but not so far out that we choose to go back instead of move forward. And I don't know what move forward looks like for your clients. Building a business of your dream, I see that, but like, I want to build a business of my dream that allows me never to have to go to work.
Hey, sorry, we gotta move to no, it's all good. It's Nicole.
I'd be happy if if we don't get through it, get on my calendar, we'll finish it.
All right, Anthony, could you stop sharing your screen? And then Nicole, if you could share yours with yours, that'd be great. And then after that, we got Jonathan, and then finally you, Chris. I keep pushing you back because you already got a turn.
It's like being at the family Christmas. No, you don't get to open your gift yet. I work with social media managers one-on-one to teach them how to take over a client account with confidence. Present positive weekly or monthly. Who is this? Is this Nicole?
Yeah, Nicole. Hi.
I don't understand. Is it analytics that I don't know? Confidence that I don't know? Or is it stealing somebody else's business that I don't like? I don't understand what the starting point with you is.
So
because you say present, because you have a client account with confidence so that they can present positive weekly, so positive weekly and monthly. So is it that their clients are currently performing negatively, or are they not feeling like? I don't understand. I apologize. Very confused.
no, I see. Yeah, so well, with the social media managers, their clients will ask them get better results than what I was doing or the previous person was doing. So a lot of the times the client of the social media manager wants results. They always want to be in the green. They always want more followers. They always want more engagement, whatever that is. So that's where I was going with that, but that makes sense why you were confused with that.
Because who is your client? So who do you get paid by? Social media
Social
manager?
media manager. Yeah.
So the problem is, if I'm a social media manager, how do I distinguish positive result, or how do I show that I get better results than anybody else? Because if I can get better results, I get paid more.
Right.
So I'm struggling with showing. I show social media managers how to effectively communicate the results that they get product so they can eliminate the competition and have an abundance of clients. And I know that's not right language. Sometimes I have to get the feel, then get the language.
Right. No, I know where you're going with this. It's still a new journey for me since I finally nailed my niche after a year of going back and forth. So this is great because it's a brand new.
So here's the thing, and I wrote a blog on it the other day about create your niche. Don't find your niche, because if you found your niche, then that means 5 people are already sitting in the chair and you have to wait for one of them to die. And so what you've just told me is one of the struggles social media managers have is they're always trying to outdo, like, my numbers are better than Rocky's numbers. But I don't know how to effectively communicate that in a way without telling that Rocky, like, without focusing on the other person. So I help social media managers communicate where.
I went a completely different direction. Like, you read it a different direction than what I was thinking. What I was thinking was, I teach social media managers how to present the positive results for that specific client's account through, my different engagement best practices and through things like that. So pretty much
they have problems with see, and now you have two different things in my head, because one is I have a problem creating a spreadsheet, and the other one is I have a problem showing people I'm the best solution.
Mm.
And if I can show people I'm the best solution, then I can pick my clients and the spreadsheet will naturally fill in itself. Because you can't make positive numbers out of negative content.
Right.
I mean, everybody wants the ad campaign for the Kardashians, because how can you fail?
All right, so we're gonna bounce to Jonathan, but yeah, so again, so Nicole is, think of it like she's a business coach specifically for social media managers, right? Like, that's, you are my coach. I pay you to help me get better clients, right? Like the same premise, but on the online world. I know you're old, but so I'll explain it more later on. Okay.
I like what you do, Nicole. I never thought of it as a
Didn't
as a
even
real
laugh.
problem, but
No
it is.
laugh. Come on, that was good.
Sorry, I got to stay in the focus zone.
I know. Unbreakable. Thank you,
See,
Rob.
I love that everybody is starting with I help, because you're starting with the I, and I'm like, oh, it's a Jonathan speech, or it's a Nicole speech, or it's a Rocky speech, or it's a Joe's. So I'm going to skip over the I help coaches create content confidently and consistently so they can rise above the noise of social media and become a leader in their niche, which results in them getting more endorsements or sponsors, or like a leader is almost a feeling, because if you're in a room of one, you're always the leader. So being a leader should have its perks. And so I always try and put that on the back end. So is your client, Jonathan,
Is a feeling? A leader is a feeling?
I realize it's a positional, but how do we decide that we're a leader? Based on I get the call first when McDonald's wants to hire an influencer. Like, how do you define what a leader is? It's based on what people see or recognize them as when they need a leader to do blank, they call this. And so when I say become a leader in their niche, if your niche is building footies for cats that are blind that live in Minnesota, what is the benefit of being a leader in that? And so I would add what the benefit, the aspirate, like, so becoming a leader in their niche results in high paying sponsorship when they go live, or being recognized as an influencer by top brands, or like there's something to take to the bank. I help coaches create content.
You're saying almost to niche down on the result more even than who you work with. It sounds like you're saying, like you're getting hyper focused on the result that you give these people. Is that what you're saying?
It's important because we go to McDonald's because we want a burger. But really what we want to do is end the craving for food or hunger. What is the, like, it's okay to, the problem I have is there's nothing that's really quantifiable that I can go, and I always say this as a coaching perspective, when we write our check to the coach that we pay monthly, our spouse is looking at us for results. Like, honey, you just spent another $1,000 a month on a coach, and we're still living on food stamps. So something got to change here. The people around us are expecting an external result. And so if we can paint what that external result is, they can then turn to their spouse and say, yeah, but when I finish coaching with Jonathan, I'm going to have high paying sponsorship for my Instagram account. And when high paying Instagram sponsorship comes through, then I can say, see, told you so. Hiring Jonathan was worth it. Because if I say I'm a leader in my niche, somebody's going to say, well, how long is that going to last until the next? Because leadership is, I mean, I'm a John Maxwell coach, but leadership is one of those positions that overnight can shift. And so I help coaches create content confidently. So the problem is a lack of confidence or a lack of content?
A lack of putting out that content.
A lack of putting out content?
Yeah, they're not putting out content confidently and consistently. They're just throwing it out there sometimes. They're not sharing their message consistently throughout the year.
Okay, so really, if you struggle with consistently developing content, I have a solution for that so that you can. So the problem you're telling me is consistent content creation. If you struggle with consistently creating, now I understand that you want them to be confident about it, but that's a secondary aspect of the problem. Because I can create consistent content without being confident if I have a system. Oftentimes we have to get into the habit before behavior, and behavior is internal, a habit is external. So you'd help people develop the habit of consistently producing content so that they can rise above the noise and become a leader in their niche and get high-paying sponsorship. So if you struggle with developing consistent content, I would drop confidently, because also sometimes, and this is, there's certain funny words that somebody will go, I'm really confident. And somebody will go, really? Because I don't see it. And then you get into an argument about whether you're confident or confident in it. And it's like, that's not the problem. The real problem is you're not consistently showing up. Because if you consistently showed up using my system, you would be the leader and you would have gotten the sponsorship, not Jonathan.
So sorry, we got to move on. Chris, to you, sir. And again, Eric volunteered his email up. You guys have it, so make sure you guys follow up if you need that extra help. Chris, go ahead. By the way, I'm getting kicked by Kayla right now saying like you're late. So go ahead.
I'm trying to go as fast as I can. This normally takes like an hour or two.
All right. Am I sharing my screen
Yeah,
too?
fine. Stop sharing. Hang on. There you go.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me find shit. Where did I put this? There it is. Okay. All right, here we go. All right. Many speakers.
Oh, he followed the format. He got the assignment. Many speakers struggle. That's a really easy way of saying it without saying it's your problem. You often say everybody, a lot of people instead of everybody. It's one of those things. So good job, Chris.
Thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
the bearded one.
So many speakers struggle with confidently communicating their message from stage. What I do is use improv comedy workshops so you become a more charismatic communicator and crush your talks, thus growing your business from a place of joy and flow.
I like this like 80%, which for me as a Virgo is like almost 100. The only thing that I see is there's two different emotional states. One is confidence and charismatic. And so sometimes it's like, do I want to grow confidently or do I want to grow charismatically? And so, so many speakers struggle with confidently communicating their message from stage. Couldn't be any clearer. Everybody doesn't, nobody feels confident on stage. Even Johnny Carson used to get nervous. I would get rid of the what I do in part because, well, hang on, let me think about that. So many speakers struggle with confidently communicating their message from stage. Using improv comedy workshops, using my improv comedy workshops. And I forgot to say this, often if you have a signature word, name, product, formula, like I have my guided author program, you want to call it that. Using my guided author program or using my 30-minute improv workshop. Like if it has a signature name, do that because you're branding that product as well as the solution simultaneously. So what I do is use improv comedy workshops.
Also, the workshop isn't the product because that's not going away, but we're evolving past that, right, Chris? So the formula is more important than that you do improv workshops. Sorry for cutting.
Yeah, and if I was going to build a business, the non-comic comic or formula or something like I would address the issue of I don't want to be a comedian, but I want to be charismatic. And so the non-comic comic work system for building confidence and being charismatic on stage. Yeah, that's probably where I would solve this middle piece of the product is create, and this, I've created a product the other day and then I had to build it after I sold it. Because I didn't know. It's like, I need a word. And I gave it a word. And then the guy's like, can I buy that program? I was like, give me 20 minutes. Then I'll think of what it looks like. So having a product name will sometimes bridge that gap. So if I said many speakers struggle with confidently communicating their message, my non-comic comic workshop helps you become more charismatic and confident on stage so that you can crush your talks, grow your business from a place of joy and passion and get booked more often.
Yeah. Cool. I actually do have a product called Improv for the non-performer.
Okay. Yeah, the non-comic comic. So improv for the non-performer. And you could even like improv non-performer, my IMP, improv for the non-improv. So sometimes having that signature program name reduces down the need to explain.
Heard that.
I've got a headache, take Motrin. I don't explain that it's 500 milligrams of amines, whatever. Like if somebody says, well, tell me more about that program or that product, then they've already bought that you're the solution. They're just trying to see what quantitative level it has for them.
Badass. Love it. Thank you.
No worries.
Right. So can we give Eric some poetry snaps or whatever the hell? I saw you guys doing amazing job. Even with that turtleneck, I just feel this feels right for you right now.